good morning. This is the Transition on Atlantic Television Network. Leadership of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees in Rivers State has issued a 7-day warning strike commencing midnight Tuesday, 30th September 2025, in view of what the union called the callous action by the chairman of Emoha local government area, Dr. Chidi Lloyd, for denying its members their salaries. A statement signed by NOJ Secretary in Rivers State, Comrade Stanley Adenira, said the decision to embark on the 7-day warning strike was due to the alleged sack of more than 300 workers of Emoha NOJ by the council chairman, Dr. Chidi Lloyd. The warning strike was declared after the State Executive Council meeting held on 29th of September 2025, adding that the action became necessary in view of what he called the callous action by the chairman of Emoha local government area, Dr. Chidi Lloyd, for denying its members their salaries. It urged its members across the 23 local governments in the state to comply with the directive. Still on River State, High Court sitting in Port Harcourt will on Thursday, October 2, deliver judgment on a suit filed by the sacked chairman and members of the River State Local Government Service Commission over their removal by the former sole administrator, Ibok Ete Ibas. The claimants, Reverend Goodlife Idioku Ben, Amadi Christian Echele, Chimenem Wisdom Jerome, and 3 others who were appointed and sworn in by Governor Siminala Ifubara, approached the court to challenge what they described as their unlawful removal after the former sole administrator declared their sack and moved to replace them without due process. The claimants argued that they were duly appointed and confirmed by the River State House of Assembly, adding that before they were issued letters of appointment by the governor, records of their confirmation were already with the clerk of the House. In the affidavit signed by the suspended chairman, Dioku Ben, and the claimants insisted that the sole administrator lacked the legal authority to suspend them and appoint a new chairman and members of the Local Government Service Commission. And during one of the proceedings, the presiding judge, Justice Frank Unyiri, barred the sole administrator, Ibas, and the newly confirmed chairman and members of the River State Service Commission, and ordered that the status quo be maintained pending the court's judgment. When the case earlier slated for judgment was mentioned in court on Monday, Justice Onyiri requested more time and adjourned the matter to Thursday, October 2, 2025 for judgment, while the defendants in the suit are the former sole administrator of River State representing the state government, the Accountant General, Access Bank, Zenith Bank, and 11 others. Still on River State, Police Command has arrested a security guard simply identified as Good Day over the alleged abduction and defilement of a 14-year-old girl in the Modakat area of Transamadi in Port Harcourt. This is coming after the suspect was arrested last Tuesday by officers of the Transamadi Police Division in partnership with security personnel of another bank adjacent to the scene of the crime. Speaking to newsmen in Port Harcourt on the incident, the mother of the teenage girl who pleaded anonymity for fear of being stigmatized narrated what happened, that she suddenly became ill and handed her daughter her automated teller machine card to withdraw some money and gave her transport to aid her movement. Furthermore, she disclosed that when she came back, her clothes were soaked with water and blood, and there were bruises on her face, neck, and leg. Her left jaw was swollen and her left eye. She was so weak. The victim's mother also said it was during that process, while she was struggling, that the man held her mouth and started beating her till she passed out. The River State Police PPRO Ingrige Koko, a superintendent of police, further said the girl is receiving treatment at a hospital, while a member of the Association Against Child Sexual Abuse and Gender-Based Violence in River State, Dennis Otobo, who had been following the incident, has called for a thorough investigation with view to arraigning the suspect in court without further delay. Niger Delta oil-producing communities are poised to harness the benefits of the Petroleum Industry Act to ensure rapid and sustainable development of the region. Stakeholders from the region spoke recently in Ekma, Uvi Council area of Delta State at the Bridges Project Roadshow Town Hall series, which focused on building awareness and capacity for the effective implementation of host community development trust. A statement by the Foundation for Partnerships Initiatives in the Niger Delta said the roadshow, which brought together a wide range of participants, including settler representatives, regulators, civil society organizations, and community leaders, was to deepen stakeholders' understanding of the HCDT registration process and ensure the equitable distribution of oil industry resources to host communities. The statement said the Bridges project aims to promote transparency, accountability, and inclusivity in implementing the PIA, which allocates 3% of oil companies' operational expenditure to the development of host communities, adding that communities can ensure transparency, demand accountability, and actively shape projects that benefit them. Ofule said the PIA introduced reforms to Nigeria's oil and gas sector, including establishing the HCDTs to drive community-led development, and was signed into law in 2021 to engage constructively, prevent conflict, and ensure that projects truly reflect their priorities. Pardon me, please. The chairman of the Delta State Multi-Stakeholder Platform, Sylvester Oko, called on more HCDTs to join the platform for a collaborative approach to the new development framework for the oil-bearing communities. Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has queried Governor Monday Akweola to provide detailed explanations on the $250 million agreement recently signed with the European African Chamber of Commerce and Industries. A statement by the party's publicity secretary, Daniel Osagbegi, said the governor's declaration had become a source of embarrassment to Edo people, adding that the opposition party would no longer allow opacity in the state's fiscal dealings. This is coming after the Edo State government had on September 25, 2025, declared that the governor signed the $250 million agreement during the Edo State Global Investment Summit in Glasgow, Scotland. We head to Lagos State, where government has reiterated its commitment to sustained investment in digital infrastructure, talent development, and regulatory reform. The Lagos Commissioner for Innovation, Science and Technology, Olatunbosun Alake, who disclosed this at the recent ICT Commissioners Roundtable during the just concluded GITEX in Lagos, also highlighted and outlined the state's recent programs and reiterated its commitment to support interstate exchange programs and technical partnerships. The ICT Commissioners Roundtable was conceived as a national platform to align subnational digital priorities with federal strategy, strengthen interstate collaboration, and accelerate the drive towards a digital economy that is inclusive and locally led. The chairman of the Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity, Senator Shaib Salisu, advised participants to link ICT initiatives closely to each other's state border development priorities to ensure political buy-in and sustainable funding, and also call for stronger cross-ministry collaboration, pointing out that the success of ICT initiative was dependent on synergy with education, health, and finance ministries, and flagged that new ICT bills were being developed in the National Assembly to strengthen legal and policy framework for innovation and cybersecurity. He also stressed the need for national coherence to integrate seamlessly into the national digital architecture. Lagos State Police Command has arrested a security guard identified as Amos Kinney in connection with the abduction of a 2-year-old boy in the Elemoro area. A statement issued on Monday by the command's public relations officer, SP Abimbola Debisi, said the case was reported by the child's mother last week when the mother of the child reported at Elemoro division that her security guard had absconded with her son and mobile phone to an unknown location without her consent. The PRO said operatives visited and documented one Aruna Dauda, male who stood as guarantor for the suspect before his employment and was taken in for questioning, and the suspect later released the child. The operatives continued their manhunt to bring the perpetrator to justice. Commissioner of Police Olundare Jimo condemned the abduction and reiterated the command's commitment to tackling violence and capital crimes in Lagos, while urging parents and guardians to stay vigilant and ask members of the public to report suspicious activity to any of the command's emergency numbers. This is coming after the command confirmed that the 5 bodies recovered along the Oreta riverbank in the Igbogu community, Ikorodu local government area, were victims of a cult-related attack, which have so far led to the arrest of more than 26 suspects by the command. Nigerian Air Force NAF Air Component of Operation Fansanyama OPFY has conducted multiple coordinated missions across Kakinhan, Okeode, Babanla, and surrounding areas in Kwara State. According to a statement signed by the Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, Director of Public Relations and Information, Headquarters, Nigerian Air Force reconnaissance and close air support operations were executed to deter threat, while hostile elements sighted east of Babanla were decisively engaged. The statement said the concurrent surveillance fight also covered key settlements and military positions, gathering critical intelligence to support ground forces, and the missions reaffirmed NAF's commitment to protecting troops and civilians, as well as maintaining their superiority and sustaining pressure on hostile actors. The Air Force assured Nigerians of its unwavering resolve to defend the nation's territorial integrity and safeguard communities against threats, and further encouraged Nigerians to remain confident, vigilant, and supportive of the armed forces as decisive actions continue to restore lasting peace and security across the country. Federal High Court, now sitting in Abuja, has barred Professor of Political Economy Pat Utomi and his associates from going ahead with their plan to set up a shadow government in Nigeria. Delivering judgment in a suit instituted by the Department of State Services on Monday, Justice James Omotosho held that the creation of a shadow government or cabinet is unconstitutional and alien to the country's presidential system of governance. The court order effectively restrained Utomi and his group from pursuing the initiative and upheld the argument of the DSS that Utomi's action portends danger to the peace and security of Nigeria. The judge said he has pursued the country's constitution and there was no part to suppose the formation of a shadow or parallel government, stressing that Section 1, Subsection 1 and 2 of the 1999 Constitution said the Constitution is supreme and binding on all citizens irrespective of political divides. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has thrown his weight behind the All Progressive Congress APC candidate for the forthcoming Abuja Area Council elections scheduled for February 2026. Minister, who disclosed this at the official flag-off of the construction of Access Road Bypass Airport second runway from Bill Clinton Drive to Tunga Madaki settlement, including 4 span bridges in Abuja, urged residents of Tongon Madaki and neighboring communities to reciprocate the federal government's gesture by voting for the ruling party.
Now that INEC has said area councils can go and campaign. Now that INEC has said they can go and campaign officially, you all know where we're heading to. Now, let me say, remember, you have had area council chairman before, no be so? Did anybody remember Tungambaraki settlement? Now that you have a son, Makarangu, who has always, day and night, keep on reminding me, Mr. Minister, remember, the people of Tungamaraki had made this request during the compensation of the land acquired for the second roadway. Please, continue to press on it, Mr. President, so that we can attend to them, so we can make sure the request made is being fulfilled. So, my dear people of Tungamaraki, I have handed over Makalagu to you.
Wike also said the road project stemmed from earlier negotiations during the acquisition of land for the construction of a second runway at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, adding that despite the land belonging to the Federal Capital Territory, the Aviation Ministry had to pay compensation, during which the affected communities demanded road access as a condition.
Some time ago, when Ministry of Aviation was to pay compensation to the settlement as regards to the second runway. Of course, because the land belongs to the Federal Capital Territory, so we have to supervise the payment or the compensation for the acquisition of the land for the second runway. One of the things that the communities asked for, that they have to be connected, they have to be linked up with roads. It will be quite unfair that they are releasing their land for a second runway, but yet they have no access to even go to the airport. It does not make sense. Of course, you know that because aviation has also to deal with security, I have to take this matter to Mr. President. And Mr. President said, whatever the settlement, whatever they ask for, give it to them. We are here to the glory of God to fulfill the promise made by Mr. President to the people of Tunga Madaki settlement. And that is the essence of the whole thing about the Renewed Hope agenda.
While presenting the scope of the project, the Executive Secretary, Engineer Richard Dauda, highlighted the economic benefit of road to the community and FCT residents at large.
Accordingly, the FCT administration processed the provision of access road to link Tunga Madaki and 9 other communities that fall within this Erythropolis area, and thus bypassing the airport's second runway. These communities include Tungang Kwasa, Tungang Kanu, Angwang Kundagba, Tudung Nasara, Tudung Ashere, Tungang Wakili, Tungang Giwa, and Sohonjua. Your Excellency, the project was awarded to Mr. CCECC Nigeria Limited in February 2025 with a completion period of 12 months. The scope of works consists of construction of 7 kilometers asphalt paved road, 180-meter 4-span river bridge. The works also include site clearance, earthworks, trapezoidal drain line on both sides of the road, culverts of various sizes, as well as solar street lighting. The contractor has commenced works with site clearance and earthworks. Your Excellency, in the course of this project, jobs will be created to the teeming youth in these communities. When completed, the project is to link the Bill Clinton Drive to these several communities, as earlier mentioned, and the road will also open up the area for development and allow the movement of people and agricultural produce. Its completion will also improve the socio-economic well-being of the inhabitants within this vicinity. We therefore seek the cooperation and support of these communities in ensuring a smooth and timely implementation of this project.
African Democratic Congress has issued an ultimatum to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babache Lawal, and other prominent figures in the party to register their respective wards before the end of the year, or risks losing recognition as members. Adamawa State Chairman of the ADC, Shehu Yohana, said the party had unveiled its membership register and only those with valid membership cards would be acknowledged. This is coming after last Thursday when the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Bolaji Abdullahi, reaffirmed the caucus's resolution that all coalition members resign from their current parties and register fully with the ADC, a directive dismissed as inconsequential by both the APC and PDP. Atiku's much publicized membership registration, initially scheduled for August in his hometown of Jada, was suspended indefinitely last month without explanation, adding that the ADC boasts politically influential figures and is prepared to wrest power from the APC administration. He further claimed that the credentials of ADC governorship aspirants are among the best in Adamawa and indeed across Nigeria. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has sacked Hajiya Zainab Baba Tako, the State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Child Development, of her duties with immediate effect. The Special Advisor Media and Publicity to the Governor, Mr. Mokhtar Gidado, who disclosed this in a statement, said the decision was a result of a minor challenge by the Governor to the composition of the State Executive Council. A statement issued by the Information and Public Relations Officer of the Commission, Sela Umar, said the offense contravenes State Public Service Rule 0327, which relates to forgery and falsification of official documents. This is coming after the Commission dismissed an education officer on September 11 for gross misconduct involving sexual harassment. Federal government has stopped illegal mining activities after 13 people were confirmed dead and 2 others missing following the collapse of a mining pit in Kadauri village, Maru local government area of Zamfara state. The federal government, through the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, confirmed the incident, and the federal mines officers had been deployed to coordinate ongoing rescue operations. According to the ministry, the tragedy was triggered by heavy rainfall and aggravated by unlawful mining practices carried out by illegal operations in the area, while at least 15 itinerant work miners were trapped when the pit caved in, with 13 lifeless bodies so far recovered. A statement signed by the Special Assistant on Media to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Shegun Tomori, said efforts are on the way to retrieve the 2 miners still buried beneath the rubble. Reacting to the incident, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Dele Alake, described the accident as both unfortunate and avoidable, adding that the ministry has mobilized its department to support rescue efforts and to unearth the circumstances that led to the collapse and to address illegal mining. The federal government had also launched the mining marshals over a year ago, and the ministry is now working to expand its operation nationwide by strengthening logistics and manpower. You're still watching The Transition on Atlantic Television Network. We'll return after this break. Please stay with us.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date: Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue: Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time: 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer, Management.
back. This is Atlantic Television Network Transition, and now the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has been scheduled to inaugurate the newly renovated National Arts Theatre Iganmu, Lagos on Independence Day. A statement from the Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday said the renovation of the National Theatre has been undertaken by the CBN and the Bankers Committee as part of their commitment towards giving back to the nation as a mark of bold investment in Nigeria's cultural heritage and creative future. According to the statement, Tinubu, who in July 2024 renamed the edifice to the Wole Soyinka Center for Cultural and Creative Arts in honor of the Nobel laureate, will lead a distinguished gathering of state governors, members of the National Assembly, the diplomatic corps, captains of industries, academics, cultural ambassadors, and youth leaders. The CBN, the Bankers Committee, and the Federal Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy in the statement said the theatre's reopening was both a celebration of Nigeria's rich cultural legacy and a launchpad for its creative industries. While the renovation was financed and delivered by the CBN and the Bankers Committee, the ministry's partnership in programming, policy alignment, and stewardship of the Nigeria's cultural ecosystem ensures that the rejuvenated National Theatre will serve as a truly national asset. Reopening with future performances by the National Troupe and other leading artists, along with special remarks from Professor Wole Soyinka. CBN Governor Olayemi Kadoso will deliver the welcome address with goodwill messages from Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says the federal government is planning a low-key 65th Independence Day anniversary celebration. Idris made this known at the Pre-Independence World Press Conference on Monday in Abuja, adding that the National Value Charter championed by NOA is a framework for cultivating national pride and fostering responsible citizenship by outlining both the government's commitment and citizens' obligations. He also said the charter is divided into two parts. The Nigerian Promise details government's commitment to values like equality and freedom, while the citizens' commitment outlines individual responsibilities such as discipline, accountability, and tolerance. According to him, the NOA's campaign aims to promote principles through sensitization drives in collaboration with community stakeholders while leveraging digital platforms to build a more unified and value-driven society. The charter also defines the Nigerian Promise, the government's commitment to equality, democracy, entrepreneurship, peace, inclusivity, freedom, and meritocracy, and also highlights a citizens' code for Nigerians to embrace discipline, duty of care, tolerance, leadership, accountability, environmental awareness, and resilience. Federal government has now declared Wednesday, October 1, 2025, a public holiday in celebration of Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. A statement by the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, through a statement signed by the ministry's permanent secretary, Dr. Magdalena Jani, congratulated Nigerians at home and abroad on the milestone, urging them to uphold the values of patriotism, unity, and resilience that have sustained the nation since independence in 1960. He also called on citizens to maintain confidence in President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which he described as a framework for national rebirth, economic transformation, and shared prosperity, and also expressed optimism about the nation's future, adding that Nigeria would continue to advance in peace, progress, and development with the collective support of its people. The minister, on behalf of the federal government, wished Nigerians a joyful and memorable Independence Day celebration. Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured Nigerians in the diaspora of robust engagement in the policies and programs of the administration of President Bola Tinubu towards positioning Nigeria in its rightful place among the Committee of Nations. He spoke during a meeting with members of the Nigerian community in the United States on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York and urged Nigerians overseas to believe in their home nation, adding adding that the country is on the right track under President Tinubu's watch. The vice president said Nigeria is on the right path with the reforms being undertaken by Tinubu under the Renewed Hope agenda, and commended Nigerians in diaspora for their resilience and belief in the current Nigerian government, while further acknowledging their capacity to add value to the country's transformation efforts. Shatima also said Nigerian community in the United States, as well as others across the world, should be proud of their heritage, adding that Nigeria's positive development indices in all spheres are a reflection of the well-thought-out policies of Tinubu administration. Earlier, Chairman Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa, introduced some Nigerians who were recording giant strides abroad to the Vice President, stressing that under the Tinubu administration, the issue of diaspora Nigerians is taking center stage and also given the much-needed attention. Minister of Information Mohammed Idris has endorsed the ongoing Write-a-Thon project by one Shaibu Ishiak, aimed at showcasing the leadership excellence of President Bola Tinubu. A statement issued on Monday in Abuja, Ishiak, the project convener, said the initiative is designed as a Guinness World Record attempt to compile a compendium of President Tinubu's achievements, and also commended Ishiak for his efforts in documenting the president's leadership milestones despite opposition-driven misinformation and propaganda. The minister commends the initiative, which reflects creativity, resilience, and patriotism under the Renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, and recognized as a unique contribution to national discourse and cultural diplomacy, while reiterating the president's commitment to economic reforms, and saluted Ishiak's courage in articulating Tinubu's achievement in book form. In his remarks, Ishiak expressed delight at the minister's endorsement and pledged to diligently highlight the leadership strides of the president, and also reaffirmed his commitment to patriotism and urged Nigerians to support and appreciate the policies of the current administration. This is coming barely 2 weeks after Chief Hilda Basi set a new Guinness World Record for the largest serving of Nigerian-style jollof rice, weighing 8,780 kilograms, and the record, which was achieved in partnership with Gino on Friday, September 12 in Victoria Island, Lagos. Economic Community of West African States has restated efforts to finalize its long-pending regional blue economy strategy, beginning with a high-level consultative workshop held on Monday in Abuja. The workshop gathered key representatives from ECOWAS member states, regional economic bodies, and continental institutions to review and validate the draft strategy, which has been inactive since its initial development in 2022, adding that the blue economy, covering marine resources, aquaculture, maritime transport, ocean conservation, and climate adaptation, is regarded as essential for sustainable growth across West Africa. The initial draft was created under the Program for Improved Regional Fisheries Governance in West Africa, but had since stalled due to administrative delays. The Program Officer for Fishery Development and focal person for Blue Economy at the ECOWAS, Diga Tiao, delivered remarks on behalf of the outgoing Director of Agriculture and Rural Development, Alain Taraore, and underscored the strategic importance of regional cooperation on marine resources management. He further highlighted the interconnectedness nature of marine sectors for policy alignment. Apex Igbo Sociocultural Organization, Ohaneze Indigo, governors and ministers from the Southeast extraction have adopted President Bola Tinubu as their consensus candidate for the 2027 presidential election as a means to end the long 73-year-old Igbo-Yoruba rivalry. A communique was issued at the 2025 annual Igbo Day celebrations with the theme Igbo Ekune, held across the 7 Igbo-speaking states and signed by Prince Dr. Richard Ozobo, Chief Jackson Omeneazu, Mazi Okechukwu Isiguzoro, Professor Chubi Keya Achoa Akawa, Chief Chinyeze, Professor Mrs. Norma Okpabi, and Chief Alex Okemiri. The group said unresolved misunderstanding among members of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC, which hindered the elevation of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe to the position of premier of the West region in 1952 and initiated a bitter rivalry that plagued both the Igbo and Yoruba people for over 7 decades, was culminated in a grand finale in Port Harcourt, Rivers State on Monday, September 29, 2025. The participants of the 2025 Igbo Day celebrations also commended bold steps towards reconciliation while advocating for an end to the long-standing strife in the best interest of Igbo investments and economic footprints in Lagos and the Southwest. Independent National Electoral Commission has dismissed recent claims suggesting that Nigerians have lost confidence in the country's electoral system, describing such assertions as baseless and unsupported by fact. This is coming after INEC faced criticism from various civil society organizations and religious organizations which raised concerns over what they perceive as growing public disillusionment with the electoral process. Responding to criticism, the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC chairman, Rotimi Oyenkami, said the evidence points in a different direction and highlighted on the need for more robust public engagement in the ongoing voters' continuous registration exercise, adding that INEC launched the new phase of CVR on August 18 to enable eligible voters to pre-register online before completing the process at designated centers. He also said the completion of registration must be done in person in accordance with the Electoral Act 2022, specifically Section 9, Subsection 7 and Section 10, Subsection 2, to mark a major improvement in the country's electoral system, particularly in terms of diversity. Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has provided updates on the continuous voter registration CVR, following the weekly online pre-registration statistics from 22nd to 28th of September 2025, being the week 6 of the exercise. The Commission said it recorded a total number of over 6 million voters. It also said total number of 537,743 has completed online registration, while 466,389 has completed physical registration. Academic Staff Union of Universities has now issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government of Nigeria. The union made the decision following a National Executive Council meeting held on Sunday at the University of Abuja. The national president of ASU, Professor Chris Piwuna, who disclosed this in Abuja at the National Executive Council meeting held at the University of Abuja on the 28th of September 2025, the union decried the neglect of the university system and the government's consistent refusal to heed to its demands. This is coming after the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Education, set up a committee headed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Abel Enita, to look into a proposal for ASU in a bid to ensure sustainability across universities, and the committee is yet to make any decision known to the public. ASU's core demands remain largely unchanged, including the negotiation of the 2009 agreement, adequate revitalization funds for universities, settlement of outstanding salary arrears, and sustainable funding mechanisms. Federal Ministry of Education has launched the 2025-2027 communication strategy and framework to enhance policy engagement, transparency, and public trust in Nigeria's education sector. Speaking at the launch in Abuja on Monday, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, described the strategy as a blueprint for telling Nigeria's education story with clarity, credibility, and consistency, adding that effective communication was a critical success factor in achieving the education goals of President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. The minister commended President Tinubu for what he called unprecedented budgetary allocations to the education sector, which had enabled infrastructure upgrades, teacher training, and the rollout of the Nigeria Education Sector Renewed Initiative, highlighting nursery's 6 priority areas. Alausi cited several achievements, including expansion of technical and vocational education and training, TVET, with more than 960,000 applications processed. Nigerian Education Loan Fund says the application portal for the 2024-2025 academic session will officially close on Tuesday. Managing Director of NEL Fund, Akintunde Sweya, who disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja on Monday, said the development was to allow the fund to conclude processing of pending applications and upkeep payments, and also directed timelines for the 2025/2026 academic cycle in line with his mandate to expand access to higher education through interest-free student loans. According to him, the loan portal will reopen in the second week of October for fresh applications and remain open until January 2026, adding that unverified applications for 2024/2025 will be automatically cancelled after October 8, and students affected would be required to reapply under the new session, and further warned that institutions that failed to verify students' record risk being publicly listed for non-compliance. He further expressed concern over arbitrary hikes in tuition and ancillary fees by some institutions, adding that a committee set up by the Minister of Minister of Education is working with regulators to harmonize and standardize fee structures across institutions. Federal government has approved a policy that makes submission of students' thesis and final year projects into the Nigerian Education Repository and Data Bank, and also make it a compulsory requirement for mobilization into the National Youth Service Corps. The new directive was contained in a circular motion by the Secretary to the State Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who conveyed President Bola Tinubu's approval on Saturday, adding that in accordance with the President's regulation requiring proof of NERZ policy compliance for all prospective corps members, regardless of where they were educated, the policy requires all students to deposit their academic outputs, such as thesis or project reports, into the national database, according to Section 6, subsection 1, 2023 of the NED guidelines. The measure serves as a quality assurance check and as a yearly independent proof of continuous enrollment and affiliation. This is coming after in March, while declaring the NERD policy effective, Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, had said the submission of academic outputs would become obligatory, and also stressed on President Tinubu's endorsement of the academic output into monetization mechanism to reward students and lecturers. With the reform, the federal government said it aims to curb certificate racketeering, secure Nigeria's intellectual property, and strengthen the credibility of higher education certifications. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has given the federal government a 30-day fresh ultimatum to address outstanding welfare and policy issues affecting their members, including unpaid salary, arrears, promotion entitlement, and the reinstatement of sacked doctors. The ultimatum was contained in a communique signed by Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors President Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, General Secretary Dr. Shaibu Ibrahim, and the Publicity and Social Secretary Dr. Abdul Majid Ibrahim at the close of the association's 45th annual general meeting and scientific conference held in Katsina State between September 21 and 26. The meeting themed mitigating health workers' migration through extra remuneration incentives, a strategy for sustainable development. Also marked a leadership transition, with Dr. Suleiman elected as president to succeed Dr. Tokpe Osundari. This is coming after a month ago, Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors embarked on a 5-day warning strike, which it suspended after 2 days following the release of funds for the medical residency training fund, and to allow the government 2 weeks to access other demands and express concerns over unresolved issues undermining doctors' welfare and the health system. The association also condemned the casualization of doctors, the dismissal of 5 doctors at the Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja, and repeated delays in delays in implementing the Medical Residency Training Act, and also decried worsening brain drain, as well as the exclusion of house officers from the civil service scheme, decaying hospital infrastructure, and failure to implement agreed pension benefits, including the creation of consultant cadres for non-medical doctors and the downgrading of postgraduate membership recognition. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has launched a training program for officers who will oversee the Nigerian Police Force criminal database systems across zonal, divisional, and state commands. Speaking at the opening session in Abuja, where 72 trainees were drawn from commands nationwide, Egbetokun said the initiative signals a shift to intelligence-led policing anchored on data and predictive analysis, adding that the system will enhance the tracking of repeat offenders, detection of crime patterns, strengthening of prosecutions, and integration of Nigeria's record with global security platforms such as Interpol. The police chief added that the reform would end weak record keeping and fragmented intelligence, ensuring every arrest and case is properly documented to boost public confidence in the force.
This initiative is part of our broader police reform agenda. For too long, Nigeria policing has been limited by weak records, scattered files, and fragmented intelligence. That era ends today. With the support of the federal government and our partners, we are building a system where every arrest is recorded, every case is documented, and every officer is accountable. No case will vanish into forgotten files. No conviction will disappear into silence. And let me add that this reform is not for the police alone, it is for the Nigerian people. When citizens know their complaints are properly recorded, when they see follow through in investigations, their confidence in the police grows.
Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of ICT, Williams Adebowale, said the upgraded crime database software provides a secure and standardized means of recording and analyzing incidents nationwide, adding that the platform also features case management tools, biometric integration, and linkage with the National Identity Management Commission.
The incident database provides a structured, standardized, and secure means of recording, tracking, and analyzing incidents and criminal activities across the country. However, as criminal activities evolve, so must our tools and our approach evolve. That is why the force under the IGP Kayode Egbetokun invested in this upgraded version of the NPF software, a smarter, more robust, and user-friendly platform designed to enhance data collection, reporting accuracy, and real-time decision-making.
And that's the size of the package. Thanks for joining us. I'm Otaria Benjamin. Remember, you can follow and connect with us on all our social media platforms: on X, Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram, Atlantic TV Network 1. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. Stay with us. Up next is Society Watch.